The BRICS nations. Yes. BRICS. Who are they? Why am I making this video again? Or why do I keep making videos since 2017 about the BRICS nations and who they are, the unification, what they're about, and how will they be stopped? Well, to save you time, they'll be stopped by innocent vessels or trading vessels. Will just be open fired upon and shot down and sank. Why? Because it happened before. And let's take a tour of who the BRICS nations were. Where did they get the idea from? Or it makes sense to have this idea. A good unified currency, a good gold-backed system, a good monetary system, a good trading system. But that already existed before. And that's been there and done it. And it's been done. Sorry, done it. I don't even know if that makes sense. But here goes. So what's going on? Nations lining up to join the BRICS, says Russian Deputy Foreign Minister. So increasing number of nations are moving towards joining BRICS bloc. Well, this has already been done before. When? In the 1600s. The Portuguese Empire. In the 1600s, the Portuguese already established a trade route. They get their gold, wood, and all kinds of goods from all over the world and trading as fairly as possible. The Portuguese were outnumbered, so the Portuguese couldn't go around with guns blazing, determined to show who's boss, like the Spanish did. The Portuguese had treaties, and they were given territories to allow them to trade. Do you think Portuguese invaded all these parts of India to take this over? No, the Portuguese were given these by the sultans. Portuguese were given Nagasaki. The Portuguese were given Macau. Portuguese didn't go in and fight China. These territories were given to Portugal. Why? Because Portugal had a good trading system. It was fair. It was transparent. And again, they couldn't betray these people because these people would have taken the Portuguese because they were always outnumbered. And this was established in the 1600s. So these are your BRICS nations, folks. This is what the BRICS nations are. And one proof, Japan and Portugal relations. The first affiliation between Portugal and Japan started in 1543 when the Portuguese explorers landed in the southern archipelago of Japan, becoming the first Europeans to reach Japan. Yes, the Portuguese brought over religion, culture, and trade. It wasn't the French. It was the Portuguese. And there it is right there. And you go into glossary of Japanese words in Portuguese origin. Look at this. Vidro. What's vidro? It means glass. Vidro in Portuguese. There is a whole list of words that are from this period in 15th and 16th centuries. The Portuguese, again, the first Europeans to arrive and embed their food, their gunpowder, all kinds of stuff. And you look at the Portuguese, there they are in Macau. There they are with their currency in Macau. There they are with the currency in Mozambique. There they are with their currency in Angola. And basically, canja. Everyone calls it kanji. It's canja, and it's Portuguese chicken soup that is served all over the world. Now, why such an organized global empire that didn't go out to purposely create conflicts with any other nation, traded across the board, fairly, and more countries were giving territories to these people to say, go ahead, open a port here. We like your goods. We like your mentality. We love the Portuguese. We love your canja soup. But that's not only it. What happened? Well, Britain's opium trade impoverished Indians. What happened in the 1800s? Well, there's the East Indian Trading Company and how they basically spread opium and all kinds of other crap through their trade routes. And see how they avoid all the Portuguese ones here? See how they're all avoided here? They're all avoided. They avoid all the Portuguese trade routes. Why? The Portuguese refused to trade opium and drugs on their trade routes. The Portuguese did not want nothing to do with the East Indian Trading Company. The Portuguese saw that they came late to the party, that the Portuguese already established factories and extraction teams and all kinds of stuff, getting a product and minerals and moving things around and moving. They transported a tons of plants and different types of, I think it was potatoes and corn, all kinds of plants in different parts of the world. The Portuguese. There it is right there. So in the 1800s, there's the East Indian Trading Company. You see how they avoid Brazil? Why? Because the Portuguese had Brazil in the 1600s. And So there it is right there. Let's keep going here. And there's Luanda. The Portuguese actually built up infrastructure in these countries and actually took the time. There was, believe it or not, segregation was a thing of the past, and people worked. If you qualified, you got the job. So there are videos all over YouTube showing basically what the city skyline. So that looks like Rio de Janeiro. No, that's Luanda in Angola. And there's, look, travel brochures. And this is basically what it looked like. We had rally car races and fashion shows and enormous skylines and just building it up. And Portuguese were headquartered there, and look, paving roads and doing all kinds of positive things with mining and creating jobs for people and having a currency that's actually has value. And there it is right there, engineers at work, buildings. I guess that's a cattle, I'm just trying to think what that was. Cattle auctions, all kinds of stuff going on, rallies, supercars, engineers. Again, look at these engineers hard at work here, and it's just good times, and airports and all kinds of stuff, radios, everything, and it was just a good time. And take a look at Maputo in Mozambique, Lorenz Marx, and when the Portuguese were there. Look at this terrorization the Portuguese are causing. Look at this global terror of the Portuguese, and basically building all these countries and creating a foothold in Africa and in Asia, all over the world. And everyone says, you need to look at Dubai, Mike. No, you need to look at that. Look at that in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And look at the Mercedes taxis. Look at it. Look what we had. And let's keep going here. Where is this? Oh my goodness. Wow, this must be some Portuguese country. Actually, it's not. It's actually in East Timor. When Portugal was allowed to win the Euro Cup, the East Timorans were actually celebrating a Portuguese soccer victory. Where's East Timor? Let's go back to our map here. Here it is right here. Oh my goodness, look how far that way. That's like 7,000 miles from Portugal. Maybe 8,000 miles from Portugal. How is that even possible? Well, the Portuguese, again, did not go in determined to show who's boss and brought something of value to the people. And that's why people in other countries still celebrate the Portuguese culture, the Portuguese heritage. This is a documentary I made called Genocide in East Timor. And if you guys want to check it out, you might want to check it out, because it basically shows how East Timor was taken over when it was at one time was part of Portugal for several hundred years, and how it was taken over by the Indonesians, who basically, and there it is, when Portuguese came to visit, man, was it ever a party and a half. And they basically, the Indonesians were funded by the Australians to go murder and genocide the people of East Timor. And there it is right there. That's when the Portuguese had to hide all the flags. When the Japanese came in, the Portuguese, they hid all the Portuguese relics so they wouldn't be destroyed. And that's me on the news there. And I just wanted to put this out there for you guys, because there was a lot going on that a lot of people don't tell you. And there's a lot going on. Here, let me see if I could find the map. There's the genocide in East Timor that happened, where they mowed down a bunch of innocent people going to the church. And then in this video, you see how basically East Timor was being taken over by Indonesia. And at one point, again, let's see if I could get this back here to show you guys, it was part of Portugal. And they're going to erase all this history because they want to get rid of this history. The Portuguese Empire started to fall because in 1700, the English, or the Queen of England at the time, issued a decree to open fire on Portuguese shipping vessels. Innocent Portuguese unarmed shipping vessels. So they're blowing up Portuguese ships at ports and just basically ripping them apart to disenfranchise and take down the Portuguese, destabilize the Portuguese Empire. Now, but it took a couple of hundred years for it to finally diminish itself, and that's why they call the fall of the Portuguese Empire was in 1999 or 98 or 99, when we lost Macau in China. our last territory overseas. But I wanted to bring this up because I thought people need to know the BRICS nations already existed. And the BRICS nations will be taken apart just like the Portuguese Empire was. Anything that goes against the higher level status quo will be deemed as a pirate. Even myself, working in Toronto, Ontario, I had to hide the fact from employers that I was Portuguese. Because if several of them found out and I lost my job because of it, and they were very vocal about it. So when people say, oh yeah, I was working at a dealership in Vancouver, all the salespeople were standing around in a circle and telling me, you shouldn't be telling people you're Portuguese. That's really bad. They're pirates. They're terrible people. You don't want to be associated and tell people that you are a Portuguese. Well, I'm a Portuguese and I'm proud. And I'm a Portuguese citizen and I'm gonna be a Portuguese till the day I die. Anyways, BRICS nations, who cares? It's already been done and it's already been dissolved. Now they're gonna start it again and they're gonna be taken down by sabotage, sinking ships, and trade vessels, and it's gonna be back and forth for decades to come. And that's what, yes, I'm for a sound currency. Yes, I'm for abolishing the banks. Yes, I'm for minimal to no governments, to let people live their lives and pay their way as they go. Yes, I'm open to very conservative views. I'm a Catholic. I'm a Portuguese, so I'm a Catholic. I was born a Catholic, so I have very conservative views that want to conserve my culture, my way of life, my upbringing, what my dad spent his whole life trying to teach me. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't believe all the lies you hear out there about colonialism and all the different lies you would hear. Portuguese were always outnumbered. Always outnumbered. They never had the manpower. The Spanish went around with guns blazing, determined to show who's boss. And the Portuguese didn't want that advantage. They wanted more of a diplomacy thing. And that's what your BRICS nations are today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please share this video if you find anything interesting in it or you feel that there's anything worth sharing and discussing. And even in the history books of the Portuguese former colonies were reverted into what the English said the Portuguese did. All right, guys. Mike Martin's here. I'll see you guys on Saturday night on Mike in the Night. I have spoken.